on that new Cuba.
Before we cover the story about a precious resource being in limited supply and threatening an entire community, don't you think we should be talking about the shortage of condoms at the Olympic Village?
You tear down the house, then you put up the rent. You pocket the cash, and you crush all dissent.
Hello and welcome to the Red Diaper Pail, a podcast about art, culture, history, politics, technology, and parenting from a left perspective. Today is February 14th, Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you, JP.
You had promised not to get me anything, and you lived up to that. I have to give you credit for following through.
My name is Simone, and I don't believe in Valentine's Day. And I didn't get JP anything. And that's commitment.
Commitment to something. And I'm John Paul.
And he did get me something.
I did. Although we could use that for a couple's massage if you...
Is it enough for a couple's massage?
It is.
Oh.
But you can also just use it.
For 2 massages for myself?
Yeah.
I guess I will figure out what our schedule allows.
You and the mouse in your pocket?
I never understood that joke. No, I do. It's a royal we, right?
I don't think kings had a mouse in their pocket. I don't think that's why I said that.
Depends on the king. I think if you have a mouse in your pocket, they only charge you for 1 massage. This is episode 24.
It is.
Just a few days ago, we released episode 23.
We did, yes.
Which was an artifact episode. This is a headline.
And by a few days ago, you mean yes.
Today was an exceptionally long day.
Really long Saturday. But we've each lost a couple of years of our lives.
And it's just the beginning of 9 full days together as a family.
9 full days together as a family.
Right.
Yes. Thank you, breaks that creep up and surprise you.
Yeah.
And then you don't have any plans, and then you just try to, I guess, hold on tight.
Yeah. So, yesterday we released an artifact episode on fascism. You should listen to it. Today we're recording an episode on the headlines, which I guess we're releasing
Hopefully on Monday.
Hopefully on Monday. So we're doing it Monday, Thursday.
It's a holiday, so
it's President's Day. No one counts. Oh, you mean you won't be able to because of the kids, right?
Yes.
Well,
so let's not make any promises.
The whole premise of this is we have 5 kids and a podcast, and we have to make our
Hey, look. We may not make every deadline, but we have always followed through.
My parents bought 2 couches and a mattress at Jordan's Furniture. This is maybe we can get a sponsorship with Jordan's Furniture. So for a limited time only, if you purchase furniture and mattresses at Jordan's and UConn, the men and the women go to the finals, it will be free. And there's a good chance that UConn men and women will go to the finals this year.
They have to both go?
They have to both go, and then it's free. They don't have to win. 0%
They don't have to win, they just have to go?
They just have to go to the finals.
No, that's an outside.
We need a mattress.
We do need a mattress, and it would be great to get a free one, but that's a pretty outside. I mean, the women haven't been as dominant.
They're having a good year, though. And the men are having a great year.
Yeah.
You want to go mattress shopping at Jordan's Furniture with the kids tomorrow?
Oh, my God. Sign me up.
All right.
Remember when we went to Jordan's Furniture for some sort of show? Oh, for the Christmas thing. And this dad was like losing his mind at his kid. Do you remember? On the walk out, he was like, "That's it! I've had it!" He's like, scoop the kid up. The kid's like 12 years old. He's like holding the kid above his head.
I do remember that.
Oh my God. That'll be me tomorrow. That's it! You've lost walking privileges.
Hey, most of our kids would love to lose walking privilege.
I know.
Several kids in particular would be like, "Yes, did it.
Yeah,
succeeded. Best trip ever." Well, if Jordan's Furniture wants to give us a sponsorship, if the UConn Huskies want to throw us some tickets, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, and if they don't, I'm okay with repossessing everything in the Jordan's Furniture and giving it out to people who need it.
I don't think we have time for that.
No, I support someone else doing it.
We're overcommitted, I think.
We are overcommitted. That's for sure.
Any mattress company that wants to give us a mattress or sponsor us would be fine.
Yes, we might even say that you've sponsored us.
I mean, we're perfect for a mattress company.
Because you put our listeners to sleep?
No, because we need good sleep. We need the sleep to count. Because we have 5 kids and a podcast in late stage capitalism.
Yeah.
All the kids sleep in the bed.
Not to mention jobs.
And we have jobs.
Oh, JP's employed again, by the way. As a social worker, no less. Congratulations to me. There's a horrible
bloodline. Back to work. I'll believe it when I see it. I mean, I'm just trying to pitch this mattress thing. We're co-sleepers, very popular in the trad life.
That's
trad
true.
Life.
If you want your brand associated with a very dangerous, non-doctor approved practice.
That's such bullshit. It's completely approved in like most of Europe. Anyways,
I'm convinced.
I'm sure it's good for Maha. It's good for Tradwife. It's good for communists. It's good for Europeans. It's good for probably most millennials and Zoomer parents. I mean, you need to have co-sleeping sponsors for your mattress company.
It's the real Red-Brown Alliance.
Plus, if you're only getting 4.5, 6, 4, that's not the next number. 4.5, 5 hours of interrupted sleep every night. Every minute on that insert your brand here mattress matters.
Mm-hmm.
I need a new mattress.
I only get to sleep 3.5 hours a night, and it feels like I got a whole 8.
My mattress.
Thank you.
Your mattress sucks, and if you want the podcast to be able to count between 4 and 6, remembering 5, I'm gonna need a new mattress.
You know what? Actually, buy us a new mattress. The company that sold us our current one, or we'll name you on the podcast for how terrible a mattress you make. That would be even better. We'll do a little.
You're gonna do like a.
This is American foreign policy. Give us a new mattress, or we tell everyone what a bad mattress you gave us in the first.
You're gonna extort them.
Yeah.
I mean, Jordan's Furniture gave us the good mattress. I mean, didn't give us. We paid for it. But if UConn goes to the finals,
you get a free one.
All right.
Yep.
Okay, well, that's our episode. Done and dusted. All right.
Come on, you're the host here.
Here's where we're going to start here. We're going to start with Minnesota. A couple weeks ago, Simone did say there's no way that they're actually drawing down in Minnesota. That was wrong.
This is the first time that Simone has ever admitted to being wrong.
That's not true. And they are drawing down in Minnesota. They didn't do a massive drawdown when they said they were going to. It was a little drawdown.
It was.
But they're doing it now. They're ending the operation. So here's a headline from So Informed.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to use their headlines heavily today. After 10 weeks of terrorizing the state, the Trump administration says it's ending its ICE surge in Minnesota. During a Thursday morning press conference, the border czar, Tom Homan, said that ICE will end its immigration surge in Minnesota after 10 weeks of terrorizing the state. Quote, as a result of our efforts here in Minnesota, it is now less of a sanctuary state for criminals, end quote. And I have proposed, and President Trump has concurred, that the surge operation conclude.
Well, that is good news for the people of Minneapolis.
Yeah, congratulations, you did it.
You did.
You can finally let your adrenaline come down.
Yeah. I don't know what to say. I think it's a real victory for just the power of people organizing. But every single city that has to deal with this is not going to be dealing with it for the first time. It is going to be relying on the example set by the people of Minneapolis and St. Paul. Y'all are heroes, and
we still have to.
It's a lot less of a scary and lonely world than it was before your example. So
yep, yeah, and that's not just like the people like us talking. I interface with the liberals and the progressives and the more mainstream folks, and I think that the folks who are really despairing and confused and checked out because of the shit show that is the world have taken hope from people power.
Mm-hmm.
And that's good. That is good, and we'll wait until it's actually confirmed and the people on the ground in Minneapolis say they're out of there. But I do think they're out of there. I did, of course, Google where are they going to go next. And there's quite a bit of... Wired has a story out this week about basically all of the sort of large spaces and warehouses and leases they're taking up in major cities across the entire United States. So it seems like there will be surges in other cities, but it seems like they're also building quite a bit of infrastructure, kind of more behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Which is concerning, and you all should you should Google your area and see what you need to do to protest that. Some areas are able to actually keep them out of certain spaces, like preemptively, which is well worth doing.
Did you see the video of the woman who set fire to that one warehouse that they were trying to buy?
No.
Yeah.
She put it on fire.
She did, and they decided not to sell it.
Interesting.
After she set it on fire. So good for her, I guess. Homan. What do you think of Homan? My spy sense here is that they are going to retreat from this tactic because it was a loser for them and go back to doing what they were doing before, which is sneaky, sly, in and out stuff and not like a big show of force stuff, which I think, if true, is decidedly less fascist and more liberal of a way of going about it.
Well, we discussed that that's just liberal fascism in the last episode. It's just deception and then force versus force and deception.
Right. Which is
so is that really a retreat? I don't know.
That would be the more stable way of doing it, but it only makes sense if they were looking to de-escalate instead of looking to.
I don't think we've had signals from Homan that this is really a shift in tactics. Do you?
I think he thinks he's the adult in the room and that he was brought in to make the administration look less cartoonishly evil. So it's possible that that's the goal here, is to do it in a way that feels much more like normal. And Bovino was brought in to make it seem like there was a major shift in policy that they're now retreating from.
I think that he definitely says those things in interviews. Like, he definitely is this should be targeted. We need to make sure we're going after criminals. We need to maintain the faith of the American people. He definitely says those things. But after he took over in Minneapolis, there were still escalations with protesters, detaining protesters. The journalists, the targeting of the journalists happened after he took over. I'm just not convinced.
Is that him?
I don't know.
Or is that Pam Bondi?
I don't know. I mean, no, we don't know.
Yeah, we also don't know how well, it's always been puzzling to me how much Trump is involved in these decisions, how much there's coordination, or whether they're all like princes in a kingdom all doing their own thing, trying to sort of curry favor by their doing well, and that he sort of after the fact decides that you fucked up or not.
Yeah. I think it's very hard to, I don't know if it's even worth unpacking like what these people actually think and what they're actually doing. I think you need to look at like what happens in the next sets of cities, and then you'll know what you're dealing with.
By the way, all this hysteria about fraud and Somalis, I wanted to know whether you were aware of this story, which is now cropping back up because of Homan's increased portfolio and profile. Border czar Tom Homan denies he took $50,000 from undercover agents. Border czar Tom Homan rejected reports that he took a $50,000 bribe from federal agents, his most forceful denial yet of his alleged involvement in an FBI corruption investigation. This is Politico. In MSNBC first reported last month that the FBI recorded Homan accepting $50,000 in cash from agents posing as business executives seeking government contracts in an undercover operation before he began his role in the Trump administration. So the funniest thing about this, honestly, is the $50,000. He said, I will sell the integrity of the U.S. government for a minivan.
Yeah, it's a pretty low number, dude.
I mean, at least the Somalis were getting like millions. $50,000.
That is, I have not heard that story. That is, that's quaint.
That's quaint. Apparently, Kristi Noem has worked very, very hard to like keep him and the other like more like normal bureaucrats out, and her people, including her like lover.
Who's her lover?
So Corey Lewandowski, who's the like her like unofficial second at DHS.
Lewandowski. Like Lewinsky, but with an N-doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He was a early Trump person in the campaign, was sort of on the outs after they'd won, and peddled influence with the president to every private company without registering himself as a lobby. He basically, I know how the guy works. So if you want to get sway with him, you come to me. He ended up working with Kristi Noem as her, like, we're going to get you into high office and maybe push your political career forward. And they've been having a highly rumored, high sort of open secret affair for years. Both of them are married, by the way. These are the moral people that we put in power.
They are.
And yeah, both of them were thought to be in trouble. Now they don't seem to be going anywhere, but both of them have been working very hard to avoid having like the actual like bureaucrats at DHS have any power and sort of trying to bypass them.
Yeah.
But Lewandowski's he hasn't been approved by Congress. So you're allowed to like have very short stints as like unofficial advisors, but not allowed to stay unless you've been approved by Congress. So the rumor is that he's been jumping the turnstile to avoid beeping in with his pass. So it looks like he's only been there for
is he
69 days is what he got stuck at.
Was he young and sexy?
Was he young and sexy?
No, is he like her junior? Because that would be kind of fun.
He is not younger than her.
Oh.
I don't know.
I just imagine some like a very like athletic young sort of man jumping turnstiles, like.
No, I mean he's a fit looking guy.
But he's like 50?
He is 52.
So he's like yeah, that's not as fun.
No. You got a little excited over.
I thought
having like really young,
like her junior, and like he was in with the Trump thing, and then he was on the outs because he was kind of like a dumb 24-year-old, and he was gonna like go curry favor and jump turnstiles, like like robbing the cradle kind of stuff.
Yeah,
but no. Okay, well, better luck next time.
Good luck to them.
Better luck next time.
Love finds a way.
Yeah, love finds a way. So back to Homan's $50,000.
Uh-huh.
Customs and Border Protection
is
going to enhance its surveillance operations by employing Clearview AI's controversial facial recognition technology. They will be paying $225,000 annually to Clearview AI.
$225,000
annually. I know. I was like, is that monthly? That's what.
Aren't they getting like a $40 billion budget?
Yeah. Well, who knows?
That's only 5 Homan bribes.
Clearview's database contains over 60 billion images scraped from public sources. The technology's application may include searches on U.S. citizens without any oversight. Legislation is currently being proposed to limit or ban facial recognition used by federal agencies.
They absolutely intend to build a AI-run panopticon in order to have total control of society, because it means the benefits of liberalism, for however much it costs, will not actually be benefits anymore because they can do it all sort of through the direct force. We'll see.
I mean, this is where it's like, if you start reading about the technologies and how much data they have and how much compute they have and how much control they have, it becomes very sad and scary. But I do think just because you have access to and current control over the technology, and just because the dystopian reality of like us all putting all of our data on the internet over the last 2 decades is now kind of come back and obviously bite us in the butt. And the AIs are obviously going to be best at like dealing with those data sources, and they're not going to be that helpful in doing anything else. We have to remember that just because the technology exists and just because they have the control now does not mean that their control and authority is inevitable. Because you can have all the technology in the world, but if you have no people, or if all the people have pitchforks and are like banging down your fortress door, you've lost.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you know that 200 million people are against you and who they are, if it's 200 million people. And that's the problem, is like, it's not just that 50% of the country at least is like not going along with this stuff. It's also the productive 50% of the population.
Right.
It's not the 60, 70, and 80-year-old part of the population, 50% of the population. It's the people who like the economy runs on, the millennials and the Zoomers, that they're going to have to go after. And, I don't see it. I don't see it at this point.
Yeah, I think it's the technology that they have and the data that they own and the processing power that they have control over is quite alarming. And it doesn't have to stay that way. That is just the current arrangement.
At the end of the day, political commitment is always going to trump like the technology. Yeah. And if enough people are politically committed to like not going along with this, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, even if they have your data, it doesn't make this an inevitability.
Yeah.
Okay. So to segue to the part of the world where they have used it as the guinea pig of surveillance data.
Okay.
Gaza.
Mm-hmm.
Trump is set to announce the deployment of troops from several countries into Gaza as part of the stabilization force. We have reached the second phase of the ceasefire plan.
Yeah.
So we are starting to see the stabilization phase and the activation of the Board of Peace. So, according to a Thursday report from Reuters, Trump is set to announce the deployment of thousands of troops from several countries into Gaza as part of the, quote, International Stabilization Force, which was authorized by the UN in September of last year. 2 senior U.S. officials told Reuters that the announcement will come next week during the first formal meeting of Trump's Board of Peace. Delegations from at least 20 countries are expected to attend this meeting in D.C.
The interesting thing about this is that Trump really wanted it to happen, and Netanyahu really didn't want it to happen, and Netanyahu was not able to get his way here. The rumor is also that Hamas were the ones who leaked the intelligence to Israel.
To get the final body.
Right, which I guess implies it was someone who was not Hamas who was refusing to give up the body.
Well,
but
either way, the reason that we got through phase 1 and into phase 2 was not because Israel was because Hamas did cooperate. Should we talk about the all men on the Board of Peace?
No way.
Yeah, every one of them is a friend of mine. A couple I like, a couple I don't like. No, I like, actually, this group, I like every single one of them. Can you believe it? Usually I have about 2 or 3 that I can't stand. Usually I have 2 or 3 that I don't like. I don't find them up here. I like every one of these people. No, they're great people. They're great leaders.
They appear to be all men.
So we have a Department of War and a Board of Peace.
The Board of Peace
feels very Orwellian to me.
Well, the Board of Peace is obviously to effect peace in Gaza, and the chair is Donald Trump.
Okay.
And there's an executive board. Nikolay Madlendev, I don't know who he is, Marco Rubio, Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner, Tony Blair, Mark Rowan, Ajay Banga, and Robert Gabriel Jr. I would like to call your attention to the people who are in the Epstein files, which is 30% of them.
Jesus Christ.
So obviously Jared Kushner is Donald Trump's son-in-law, and Marco Rubio is the Secretary of State.
Uh-huh.
So we know who those people are. Tony Blair, former PM of the UK. Tony Blair, Jared Kushner, and Trump are solidly in the Epstein files. So is Mark Rowan.
Okay.
Who is Mark Rowan, do you ask?
I do ask.
Mark Rowan is a billionaire who is the co-founder and the current chief executive of Apollo Global Management. Apollo Global Management. What's Apollo Global Management?
A investment bank?
Yes.
Essentially.
And who did he co-found Apollo Global Management with? Leon Black, who actually resigned in 2021 because he is so in bed with Epstein that he had to resign prior to all the tranches of emails.
Yeah, right.
Mark Jeffrey Rowan, who is a billionaire, who also serves on he's on the board of Wharton School of Business. This man is in the Epstein files because they often get breakfast at Epstein's home. And
well, it's not anymore, but.
Well, I mean, according to some people, that man's alive. And they talked about the sale of his private jet. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Witkoff. He is an American real estate developer, investor, and founder of the Witkoff Group.
Okay.
He has served as the United States Special Envoy to the Middle East. He is the de facto envoy to Vladimir Putin. Both Witkoff and Rowan are devout GOP donors that went Trump.
Okay. They broke Trump. I've heard Witkoff come up a lot because of Middle East envoy stuff.
Yeah, Witkoff is a good friend of Trump's. Goes way back. And then, of course, Tony Blair is connected to Epstein because during his time as prime minister, Lord Mandelson brokered a meeting. So while prime minister of the United Kingdom, he was meeting with Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, because he was, in addition to being a intelligence asset of the CIA and Mossad, he also was probably a British intelligence agent.
Epstein.
Yes,
probably.
Yeah. It may have been first, actually, but depending on which
British
timeline of this stuff you believe.
Possibly. I mean, some people also think he was a Russian asset. So, but the dumbest man alive.
They really want him to be a Russian asset. They just want him to be a Russian asset so bad.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's too dumb to be a Russian asset.
Yeah, they only employ the best and the brightest in Russia.
That's right. So Robert Gabriel Jr. is an American political advisor, speechwriter, and former television producer. Because when I want a board of peace, I want a television producer.
Well, it's all made for TV.
It's all made for TV. He's the deputy national security advisor. There's also a Gaza executive board. Delegations from at least 20 countries are expected to attend the meeting in Washington, D.C., which Trump will chair. And Benjamin Netanyahu has announced that he has joined the so-called Board of Peace.
Oh, he has. Oh, that's good. Netanyahu is a man a dog who caught the car. He really wanted Trump. He really, really did. And I wonder if he ever regrets it.
I mean, it seems like Trump is topping him.
Yeah, he absolutely is. He absolutely treats Netanyahu as a proxy and not as a peer or a geopolitical threat or anything like that.
Yeah, it has to be. I mean, it has to be humiliating. But you get what you deserve sometimes in this world.
I guess so. I mean, he deserves a lot worse than looking like Trump's bag man or whatever. But I'll take it. Speaking of Epstein, apparently, unlike in the United States, you can't get in trouble for this stuff if you live in the UK.
Yeah, I guess the way the borders work, they're not just straight up and down and all ideas stuff. So Europe didn't get the memo that we were gonna just look the other way. So the child rapists.
I guess Keir Starmer's government is probably going to come down over this.
Over this, though.
I mean, they're incredibly unpopular for a number of reasons. I mean, this is a cautionary tale for two types of people. One is DSA people who think that they're going to take over the Democratic Party and run someone like Bernie Sanders, because they tried this in the UK with Corbyn. And what happened was all the functionaries and careerist, spineless assholes is the Labour Party intentionally threw the election because it couldn't, and they were open about it. They couldn't stand the thought. And then you had quote unquote progressive papers like The Guardian relentlessly hammering Corbyn over this fake anti-Semitism charge.
Yeah, I know.
And so they ended up with Keir Starmer, which is it's a perfect Biden type thing. Well, it's doomed.
The Labour Party was in rough shape, has been in rough shape for a really long time. Corbyn was kind of a little light. Yeah. A little light of what it could be, even if it was just DSA. And the people were excited about it. And you're right, they took it down, and now they've got an extremely unpopular government with an extremely unpopular guy heading it, who of course is in the Epstein files.
Right. And
I mean, how could he not be?
Yeah. The other cautionary tale is for liberals who felt relief and the moment Keir Starmer was elected, and we ended the Boris Johnson parade of nonsense. This is where you end up 6 months later. This is what
instinct.
This is exactly what happened with Biden. If you're going to breathe a sigh of relief when it's Gavin Newsom or Kamala Harris, you have to understand that within 8 months, this is what a liberal presidency looks like, because they cannot govern.
Are they going to take Lord Mandelson's manor away from him? Oh, Baron Mandelson.
Baron
is a British former Labour Party politician, lobbyist, and diplomat. Good friends. Good friends with Epstein.
Yeah. Of course.
Two peas in a pod as they tried to puppet master the economies of the West.
I mean, Mandelson's a former communist, apparently, and realized at some point that he was a rich kid who liked rich kids, so why on earth is he doing this? And he's been intentionally using money and patronage to make the Labour Party as right-wing as he could possibly get it to be. And of course he's associated with Epstein, because that's what all these people were doing, is they were using their money and their connections to drive, I guess, Western society into the ground with these delusions of grandeur that liberalism was the only thing in the way.
But here, under pressure from Prime Minister Keir Starmer, Lord Mandelson has resigned from the House of Lords as of February 2026 to avoid further embarrassment to the Labour Party.
Yeah, sure.
They can't possibly be more embarrassed. Yeah. It will turn into a puddle. He was also previously fired for his role as UK ambassador to the US following the first set of revelations. So These people are getting like dismissed from their positions.
Right, which is not something that happened in the United States. By the way, Keir Starmer said that Israel has the right to not just defend itself, but to cut off food and water to Gaza.
Oh, does he make international law now?
They have also been like really mealy-mouthed about Venezuela.
It is. So we have a few guests. Do you have any segues you'd like me to speak? I have a made up.
What do you think about Pam Bondi?
What do you think about Pam Bondi? Do you know what she did to all those people that are protesting ICE in Minnesota? She threatened that the government was going to take the information about their voting. What do you think about that?
We got a thumbs down.
Here, watch this. Come here. What do you think about Keir Starmer?
He has a big pet.
Now, what's your favorite event at the Olympics?
You like the curling, the skiing?
You like the figure skating?
The figure skating?
Figure skating.
You practice figure skating on the road?
Yeah.
Yeah. It seems like Pam Bondi, the Attorney General of the United States, did lie under oath.
Yeah, but look at the Dow. Look how high the S&P is. Does it really matter?
I mean, Donald Trump is the best president we've ever had.
Yeah.
Why are you speaking to me? He's incredible. He's incredible. For us, for you.
Have you apologized to President Trump? Have you apologized to President Trump? All of you. I find it interesting that she keeps going after President Trump, the greatest president in American history. You sit here and you attack the president, and I am not going to have it. He is the most transparent president in the nation's history. Donald Trump, the Dow right now is over. The Dow is over 50,000.
The funniest thing is like the S&P was on this long, crazy ride across the Biden administration. Most of it because of speculative AI bubble stuff, which is now because of the proximal cause of like the tariffs and the instability and the random wars that we almost have and all this shit. The stock market has gone nuts in the last 4 or 5 months, getting worse and worse. The real reason is the AI bubble, which is not Trump's, although he's inherited it, but all the proximal stuff that causes all this underlying risk to start to like manifest. So to go up there and be like the stock market, when the stock market is like up and down and up and down, up and down every day, like so much stability that you can't like trust any of your investments is fucking hilarious to me. And it's also like, it doesn't, and this is the deal that they're going to make with the American people, I think, is yes, I know billionaires cannot get in trouble for this shit. But as long as your 401k is doing well, do you really care? Do you really care? Do you really want to go to, if you had to trade 30% of the returns you're getting on your retirement account, but know you live in a world where billionaires are held accountable for
I just have to
XYZ?
I have to interrupt you. To channel Pam Bondi.
Okay.
How dare you speak about this? This man is a gift from God. A gift, a stock market God.
What a horror.
There is no evidence in any of the files that he's ever done anything wrong, ever.
Right, because I made sure that it was all redacted.
Oh, shit. It wasn't all redacted. Turns out there's plenty of evidence in the files. The man's a god. The man's a god. The man's a god. I mean, you have to sit there and watch and you wonder if she really believes it. Or what does this woman actually think is happening? I just, part of me wishes that she does actually know what's going on. And it's just like pure cynicism and grift. But what if she doesn't know what's going on?
I think she knows. I mean, her job. She obviously had been prepped to be extremely aggressive and filibuster.
Honestly, the generous interpretation is she knows what's going on, because otherwise she's the biggest, dumbest loser.
The most useful idiot of all time. I mean, how could you not?
There are those that do not.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I mean, I don't know, hopefully or not hopefully, but
there's a lot of benefits in this for her if she can actually pull it off. I'd like to see it. She didn't.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of benefits for her if she can actually pull it off, and the fascists can actually pull it off.
Right.
But if she pulls it off and they fail,
it's still not going to be good. I mean, I don't know. The MAGA people were pushing this clip of her calling one of the people who are like, she's cannot filibuster the time like this. We can't. You're not going to let this happen. And she's like, shut up, you like washed up loser lawyer, not even a lawyer. And this is supposed to be her being like strong. It's like this. I can't imagine there's anyone in the country who watched that and was like, she was really self-possessed and showed them what for. It seemed to be an unmitigated disaster. But
okay, well, I don't know if Pam Bondi lying under oath is a horrible headline or a positive headline, but I'm going to give you some horrible headlines from the world of pregnant people. The Trump administration has been sending pregnant migrant girls to a shelter in Texas. Texas Public Radio published an explosive report this week revealing that despite objections from the administration's own health and child welfare officials, the Trump administration is sending all pregnant, unaccompanied minors apprehended by immigration enforcement to one group shelter in South Texas. This facility and the region lack specialized care these girls need. Since last July, more than a dozen pregnant minors have been placed at this Texas facility, some as young as 13.
This is horrifying. And like all this, we're because they're pregnant, they're allowed to break the law, blah, 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 blah. I don't care about any of that. Let's start at they get medical treatment and like a facility that's anywhere near the level of like treating them like human beings.
Yeah. Let's just go with the level of medical treatment that your own yahoos and your like soulless administration have decided is good enough.
I mean, let's start with California prison level of medical. Like, they're
apparently we're doing Texas border level warehouse.
Yeah.
For migrant minors, girls who are pregnant. Young girls who are pregnant, that's a high-risk pregnancy. Their bodies are not necessarily going to handle that pregnancy well. It's disgusting.
We got a glimpse at what is actually happening in these detention centers, which I think is a way underreported part of the story because they're losing track of people. I think there's a lot of like potentially crazy shit going on with like where they're sending people or what you're doing with people. So this Irish national who's been living in the United States for almost 20 years, his name is Seamus Culleton, managed to get an interview with an Irish newspaper, and it was a glimpse into the conditions at these camps, and it's absolutely horrifying.
Yeah. It's
like they don't clean them up, they don't give them enough food, everyone's starving.
They're packed into very small locations. I mean, there's a reason you're getting a measles outbreak. They have children there. They have lots of children in these camps. They're concentration camps.
Yes. And he reported that multiple detainees have been killed by the guards while he's been there.
It doesn't surprise me because there's been a lot of reports, especially in Minneapolis, because of probably the volume, like the saturation of like horrific like head injuries and things from beatings.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that, they're concentration camps.
They're concentration camps. Many of these people will never be heard of again. They'll never be able to say what happened to them. They won't be able to tell you like a chain of what location they went to. A lot of them like basically don't have identities because they're not undocumented immigrants, right? So they'll just disappear completely. They'll be unpersoned. And it's
a very hidden part of this story.
Yeah.
Okay, well, more bad news for pregnant people. Iowa Republicans have set a hearing on a bill that would ban all abortions and make performing an abortion a crime punishable by life in prison for doctors. On Tuesday, February 17th, Iowa lawmakers will hold a subcommittee hearing on House File 2332, which would ban all abortion care in the state and make the crime punishable by life in prison. So there's been a few states that have heard these the most extreme versions of these laws. I think in almost every case that the laws have not come to pass.
Not when they put them up to vote for. If they do it through representatives, they get them. But if they do it like a ballot initiative, they don't pass.
These laws are archaic and inhumane,
and
they do seem a little bit for shock value. But it's concerning when they come up. And there's certainly states that have laws where you can go after the providers and put them in prison.
Yeah, that's a very that was Charlie Kirk's thing. Is we should not go after the women. We should go after the providers because they're the murderers.
I mean, it's not just Charlie Kirk's thing. The maniacs, the pro-life maniacs have been doing that for years. That's why George Tiller was killed.
Right. Yep.
I mean, a major part of their agenda was to terrorize doctors who perform certain types of abortions to such an extent that they could get the number of doctors who perform such abortions so low that they would just drive down the numbers just through pure terror.
Right.
All right, well, I got one more. Trump's, I know, horrible headlines this week. Trump's CDC has begun canceling hundreds of millions of dollars in HIV and STD funds to certain Democrat-led states.
Oh, my God.
So they canceled funds for HIV and STD funding to California, Colorado, Illinois, and Minnesota this week.
This is on the heels of them trying to keep people alive with their Super Bowl ad. Do you know who?
Wait.
Do you know who?
Oh, Maha keeping the Mike Tyson ad keeping people alive?
Do you know who directed that ad? Ratner.
The Melania guy?
Yeah.
The Epstein files guy?
Yes.
Well, that's disgusting.
Yeah.
So they're on their way of they're gonna pull their ICE agents out of Minnesota and their hundreds of millions of dollars in HIV and STD funds.
Yeah. So worried about your health. Do you hear the clip of him saying that he wasn't worried about a germ because he used to snort cocaine off of toilet seats? This is the guy.
R.F. Kennedy, not worried about COVID germs because he can snort cocaine off toilet seats.
Right. He's worried about vaccines, though. And
Marco Rubio goes, that rube, I only snort my cocaine off of a clean surface. I mean, Marco Rubio just uses the podium. He's at Munich, and I can see him with the
oh, geez, yeah.
That man's on cocaine the whole time, and probably gonna be the next president of the United States.
He's sounding very presidential. We're not going silently into that dark night. We're going to rage against the dying of the light, says Marco Rubio.
Mark Rubio is going to rage.
He is.
For we in America have no interest in being polite and orderly caretakers of the West's managed decline. We do not seek to separate, but to revitalize an old friendship and renew the greatest civilization in human history. What we want is a reinvigorated alliance that recognizes that what has ailed our societies is not just a set of bad policies, but a malaise of hopelessness and complacency. An alliance the alliance that we want is one that is not paralyzed into inaction by fear. Fear of climate change, fear of war, fear of technology.
He's looking for an alliance with Germany.
Yeah, they are not okay with managed decline. They are going to rebuild the greatest civilization that ever existed. And that, I guess he means Batista's Cuba.
By starving out Cubans.
Yeah, but what an asshole. But I think, he is far and away the most surprising person in the administration. I thought his political career was over because of how Trump humiliated him in 2016. So to see him looking by far the most presidential of all of them is really interesting. We'll see if a Latino, who is that for? I mean, are they expecting that Latinos will vote for the Republican Party for the foreseeable future after this?
I mean, they might vote for Marco Rubio. Some of them might vote for Marco Rubio.
Certainly the Cubans who have no chance of being deported ever for any reason.
On that new Cuba.
Before we cover the story about a precious resource being in limited supply and threatening an entire community, don't you think we should be talking about the shortage of condoms at the Olympic Village?
They said they were going to fix that for Valentine's Day.
Thank God.
I mean, I didn't hear if they did or not.
I mean, what is even the point of having the Olympics if all of the best athletes in the world can't be humping like bunnies?
I don't know why we're so worried about them not having babies, though. Don't we need to...
Oh, yeah.
The UN this week condemned U.S. measures halting oil deliveries to Cuba. The UN Human Rights Chief Volker Turk on Friday urged the lifting of U.S. sanctions that impede oil deliveries to Cuba, criticizing the widespread disruption they caused the Caribbean nation as a human rights violation. Quote, "We are extremely worried about Cuba's deepening socioeconomic crisis amid a decades-long financial and trade embargo, extreme weather events, and the recent U.S. measures restricting oil shipments." I have found that the targeting of Cuba, even though we heard about it right after they took Maduro, has been quite quiet.
Yeah.
It's like they want to quietly starve them out.
Yeah, I think they want to create a situation where they expect that Cuba will roll over without them doing very much. And one of the reasons why, Venezuela was important to the left to the degree that people were willing to make peace with what was going on there, even though it wasn't very leftist in many ways, was because it was a lifeline to Cuba, which is now cut off.
Yeah.
Russia said they're going to be selling oil to Cuba in spite of the sanctions and etc. If that raises tensions, I wonder if they'll continue that or not. But
yeah, I mean, this is not just cutting off some oil to Cuba. It was not mainstream news, but last month when they halted Venezuelan oil shipments,
Uh-huh.
President Trump declares national emergency over what he called the, quote, unusual and extraordinary threat posed by Cuba against the United States, which allowed sort of a more extreme imposition of tariffs and economic sanctions, which is what the UN's reacting to, because that's this tipping over to certain levels of sanctions to cause certain levels of human rights violations becomes problematic.
Yeah.
And, they're reporting that fuel shortages right now in Cuba are seriously undermining access to water and sanitation.
And, imagine having to feed your children by having to burn wood at every single meal because you can't get electricity to run a microwave or a stove or what have you. They've had to do so much there for so long with so little, and it's really inspiring, but you can imagine that a lot of the excitement about the political project has dissipated, and there's a lot of people now who are inheriting a revolution that they have to maintain with enormous personal sacrifice. I don't know.
I mean, I also think it's not that they don't like Venezuela was absolutely their only lifeline. I think we have to caution against that narrative too. It's just there was an extreme shift in certain resources very, very quickly, made more extreme by the U.S. pulling a state of emergency situation. Yeah. Which I think is why the UN's responding. Typically, the UN would be like, "Oh, we're gonna puff our chest out about Cuba to the United States." I think it's just there's an extreme. It's like a whiplash situation, and no economy can handle losing a resource like that quickly. And it's on purpose because Marco Rubio has a real chip on his shoulder. I don't buy that Cuba, even if they were in deep relationships with Russia, who apparently can't get oil to them, and China, I don't buy that that's a big threat. I don't think the United States is economically or materially at risk because of Cuba.
Yeah. One thing that might explain the timing of this is that they might be thinking that it's now or never, because Rubio gave this speech about sanctions, and the sanctions regime is really built on the U.S. dollar being the world's reserve currency. For people who don't know this, all of the oil in the world is exchanged in U.S. dollars, which is a system that for some reason people do, even though they don't have to. You don't legally have to do it, but everyone has agreed to this for decades now.
Today, Brazil, in our hemisphere, largest country in the Western Hemisphere south of us, cut a trade deal with China. They're going to, from now on, do trade in their own currencies, get right around the dollar. They're creating a secondary economy in the world, totally independent of the United States. We won't have to talk about sanctions in 5 years because there'll be so many countries transacting in currencies other than the dollar that we won't have the ability to sanction them.
You know that major U.S. banks make more money just exchanging currency for these international transactions than they do in all domestic banking that they do. There's a huge amount of money involved in making sure that everyone has U.S. dollars so they can exchange things like oil primarily and then a bunch of other things.
Right.
And China has been working very, very hard to break the monopoly the United States has in this. Mm-hmm. So they're saying, well, if the U.S. stops being the world reserve currency, we will no longer have a sanctions regime that can dictate to countries what they do, right? Because you can't threaten to withhold dollars. They'll be just like, fine, I'll go, whatever the BRIC countries end up with, I'll just use that instead. So they may think in the very near future, Cuba may have a perfectly sound economy again because it cannot be embargoed by the U.S.
Sanctions don't just embargo dollars.
The sanctions...
They embargo trade.
The sanctions threaten anybody who does trade with that country, right? So you say, if you do trade in this country, you're going to be punished in the following ways. And right. All of it is passed through U.S.
It's controlled by U.S. banks and dollars, but they could still sanction a country.
They can.
Don't trade with them or you're going to...
That works only, I think, in a monopoly situation. I mean, if you're trying to appeal to trade partners and you don't have a monopoly, and you don't want your dollar to collapse, for example, you have to play nice with people. So you can't be telling Europe who to trade with anymore. The other thing about this is irksome, and I know that it's always stupid and pointless to point out hypocrisy, but didn't they just get done telling us that they don't care what you do in your own country, that you don't need to have the same values as them as long as you don't threaten the U.S. interests? Cuba does not threaten U.S. interests. In fact, Cuba, I mean, you're going to say ideologically, and that might be true. Cuba.
Well, I'm just going to say that they are saying, whether it's based on anything at all or not, that Cuba is a national security threat.
Based on what?
I don't know, but that's what they're saying.
Based on, I mean,
based on their existence near the shore.
I mean, I did not know this, but Cuba works directly with the U.S. Coast Guard to police narco trafficking in the Caribbean. They're probably the most effective partner we have at policing the Caribbean.
Well, that certainly is not what they care about.
I mean, they stopped doing it when Trump came in. The Cubans still coordinate, give information to the Coast Guard. The Coast Guard gives nothing back.
I mean, outraged by the hypocrisy in this.
I know it's kind of quaint, but like, they had this whole, I'm sitting there going like, do they mean this when they say, look, we don't care about this liberal stuff anymore. We only care about U.S. interests. But the idea that a country in the Caribbean could sort of do what they wanted and not do what the U.S. wanted is so abhorrent to them.
That's the hemispheric control thing, though. And I think the national security strategy accounts for that. You can do what you want, except we're going to do our best to through our might and our dollar to control things that we think are close to our in our hemisphere and important. It's ideological. It's certainly not about economic.
It is for all the flaws of the Cuban Revolution, to watch them produce all of those doctors and send them all over the world and use medicine as a means of trade to create an economic base on a place that they had done everything they could to strangle. I mean, when the USSR fell, that would talk about losing your access to oil overnight. And they have soldiered on for decades in this condition.
Cuba should start doing outreach, start sending envoys to the blue states that are getting their resources strangled by the feds.
Yeah,
they could go to Colorado and Michigan and California and provide HIV and STD.
There's something else.
Treatments.
Yeah, unfortunately, the states cannot control their own immigration situation.
They cannot.
That's the other thing too. Is like
telehealth.
Yeah. What are you going to do? Sue them? For decades, we've been told that the real problem is one of like political rights in Cuba. There's not free and fair elections. There's no freedom of speech. Most of that not being true.
Yeah.
But Rubio was very, very frank about this. The only choice for you is to liberalize your economy and let foreign investment in. Other than that, we don't give a shit. You do whatever you want.
Whatever you want.
Right. So what was it really about?
Same in Venezuela.
It was all this money that all of these like rich Cubans had to leave behind. They want it fucking back.
They want Western corporate interests to have access to resources.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah. And
that's exactly what they did in Venezuela. I mean, they haven't done it. I think that
they want the oil. I mean, that's pretty clear that they want the oil.
I think that project has got plenty of time still to fail. But
it's already failing. I mean, the oil company said the amount of money you're asking us to invest in this is not worth what we're going to make selling the oil.
Everyone knew that because anyone who knows about oil apparently knew that because the way the oil existed in the ground and the infrastructure that existed to get it out of the ground and refine it was so far behind that it wasn't worth the investment.
Yeah.
So here we are.
Yeah, so, and not at this price per gallon that we have, and they're trying. Like this is the contradictions. Like Trump wants you to go to the pump and be like, "Thank God Donald Trump is president." But the lower the price of oil is, the less worth it is to open up new oil fields in places like Venezuela.
But don't send the oil to Cuba.
Yeah, that's important.
No matter what you do, right?
Yeah,
that's the important thing. Make sure that you can get hundreds, thousands, millions of human rights violations out of it.
I mean, tell me what the difference is between a gangster and these people. And it's a protection racket / an extortion racket.
There's no difference.
Do everything that we want, or we will kill you and take all of your stuff. There's no difference. And like, this is the set of moral values that we're supposed to adopt as a society. Is like, if I'm strong enough to force you to do something, then you're damn right I'm going to force you to do it. Well, that's all the justification they need.
It shows its own contradictions because I honestly don't think that's an acceptable for many people. That's not an acceptable society. They don't actually want that. It's just not good enough.
I think
it's the whole same thing with like there's no art and culture here. It's actually just not good enough.
Yeah. I mean, I hope you're right. I think a lot of people were willing to live in that world, knowing in some part of them that that's the world that they were living in. Because Trump didn't change the fact that we're a gangster state. What he changed was doing it openly. And I think a lot of people were able to make their peace with it as long as they were given a set of talking points to sort of morally launder it.
Again, I mean, it shows its own contradictions now that it has to be more flagrant.
Yep. It will sort of turn people off because it's just, I don't want to look directly at it, and you're making them do that. And that is a road to change, is when you have to face what America is built on.
The first step to knowing you have a problem is admitting you have a problem.
Yeah.
All right, well, that was a full deck of horrible headlines. I'm not sure our audience needs that much horrible headlines every week, but we're going to give it a try.
Yeah, so we'll do this for a couple of weeks and see. But enjoy that.
Enjoy that start to your week. Done and dusted.
Your powers will fade as you grow. Your powers will fade as you grow old. Your powers will fade as you grow old. You're on the make and you don't do regret. You're always out for what you can get. You think like a snake and you ooze like a snail. Let the trail go cold as you swallow your tail. With your low rent skills and your heart of flint, telling your tales that are unfit to print. You're all weasel words, backed up by the boots, obsessed like the rest, with a promise of loot. Your pies will fade as you grow old. 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 You demand of the sea, it obey your commands. You grab at the land with both of your hands. But candles will burn and time will reveal all that you've done and the money you steal. The suffering you're causing gives you no pause for thought. You've got your claws in the dead summer's heart. Birds will return as the birds always do. When they come home to roost, they'll feast on you. Your pies will fade as you grow old. Your pies will fade as you grow old. Your pies will fade